actually get real-time responses. So if all of a sudden you're, doing a Facebook Live video and somebody wants to comment or they want to share their emotion with you about an announcement or something like that. I remember doing a press conference with the Trek Across Maine recently where we made the announcement that the new route was happening and people were putting up the hearts all over the place. And that's something that you just can't get with any other kind of live video feed. And I think Facebook does a really good job too of staying on top of it to be able to have the technology and always be advancing. I know there's a lot of people out there still waiting for that dislike button, that was talked about, but there are ways to show your emotions, sad face, etc. All right, so a few tips for you. Tip number one is answering questions. And I think, Meg, this is an area where obviously you deal with it a lot on social media in general, but imagine if you could have that real-time engagement with, your audience, and Facebook Live allows you to certainly do that.
Yeah, and you can go on, do a Facebook Live about one question or just a general question and see what people are in real time asking you. So you can either plan it out or you can just go on saying, ask me anything today.
Yeah. And I think, too, a lot of people need to realize you've got, obviously, your frequently asked questions page. So if you even just did a Facebook Live video where you talked about some of the frequently asked questions that you get at your business, this here is an example from the Trek Across Maine, that would be a perfect Facebook Live video so that you can get that real-time engagement. Today, obviously, we're doing a webinar, which is a little different because we've got our slides up, but the idea is that you could also do types of webinars. We're doing this through Zoom, which has a platform to also share it on Facebook Live, which is really cool. So as you get into that, there's definitely a lot of cool things that you can do. So.
I also wanted to mention, too, the best part of this is if you do your frequently asked questions, this video saves. Yeah. So you can share it and you can use it as evergreen content for later on.
Absolutely. All right, let's go on to our next tip. So tip number 2 is giving a tour. And I like to say, and there's always out there, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? We've heard that 100 times. So then, Meg, what is a video worth? And if I ask me, I say like 2,000 words, if not priceless. I mean, when you think about it, it's a visual medium, because this here is an example of where I think a video would be really helpful. We have a business park, First Park in Oakland, Maine, that we are working with right now, and we are encouraging them to use video to show the business park. Why? Because it's really hard when you look at a map like this or try to visualize what maybe one of the lots looks like or one of the buildings looks like. You just can't do that. A photo, you would have to take 30 photos of a room to be able to really put yourself in the room, versus a video, you do a 10-second pan of the room and you're like, wow, that is an amazing room. So
it really gives your followers that virtual reality type feel. So they're there, they can see what's going on, what happens every day, a tour of your business.
And I like the idea, too, of showing your employees, like literally going into cubicles. I mean, how cool would it be if someone came and said, hey, Meg, what are you working on today? That kind of thing. It gets people also introduced to your employees who are really on the front lines. So a lot of people never get to meet these employees they talk to all the time. This is a great chance to do that. Also having a 5-minute conversation with a certain employee about their job. So, boy, wouldn't it be awesome if you got to hear 5 minutes with Meg about what she does every day, because it's very interesting, and all the social media stuff that she does that starts her day, ends her day, what she's got to be thinking about. But think about your employees, and obviously probably have a lot of them. That's a great resource to educate, your target audience as well.
And these employees are your brand ambassadors too. So they really know your brand and they know how to promote it well too.
For those of you who obviously call into Marshall Communications and get to talk to Julie, imagine if we did a nice little 5-minute video with Julie. I'm sure she would love it, trust me. There are certain people that are going to love it and certain people that might not love being on video. I'm sure Julie, as an actress, would love to do a 5-minute video. So finding the right people too, you got to have somebody that's comfortable with being on camera, not sometimes everybody is. All right, obviously, if your company is expanding, show the progress. I think this is obviously a missed opportunity for those people that are maybe in a business right now that are expanding. You've got some construction going on. Going live for just even 2 minutes. Hey, look at that crane. We're installing today the big generator, whatever it may be. Showing people progress is a huge, huge step and something that can be done so much better with video than it can be with images. Tip number 3 here is engage in person. So Facebook Live gives you the opportunity, I think, to be more authentic. It is live. We talk about social media being authentic and engaging, number 1, but then obviously you throw in the element of live, and there's no secrets once that happens. So I think that's important. And also timely. How often do we see timely news is so important on any type of social media?
And it really shows your brand personality too. So your brand ambassadors, and it shows what your business is all about too.
Yeah. And this, I think, was a really good example of that, what Meg's talking about, where we have Kim Chamard here, who's from the Trek Across Maine, and they were trying to get registrations here late in the process for the ride this year. And she just went on and did a quick video. This wasn't even Facebook Live. This was just a quick video. And it was able to get a lot of people. You throw in a cute baby or a pet or a humor or anything you do there, you're going to get people to watch the video. So that was an important tactic that she obviously had on one of her shirts, Trek Across Maine. She allowed people to know, hey, registration closes tomorrow. Again, that timely element, but you can say so much more with a video and it gets through to so many more people. All right, number 4, we're going to promote some events. We talked about this earlier, but oh man, this is such a great example. I love this example. Number 1, because I was there and it was quite funny, but I shot the video too. So I really was able to experience what Facebook Live can do at an event. So what you're seeing here is on the right-hand side, that's the Skowhegan Moose Festival this year. And they were attempting an official Guinness World Record for the most amount of people calling moose simultaneously. Now, Meg, an image does not do that justice.
No, it doesn't.
You just can't get the experience. And that's why before the event, we planned it out. We were going to do Facebook Live. And it was tremendous. It extended the reach by thousands of people. And by thousands, I mean 15,000 people. That's how many views we had on this video of the actual record attempt. And it was a great promotion because it was allowing people to get to the event and experience it or participate. But if you weren't there, you watch the video and you go, I wish I was there. That is such a cool thing. And so keep in mind that it's not just, as someone who works on social media, Meg, it's not just about recording for in the moment. Now you've got a video that you can use a year from now and say, hey, check out our video from last year, right?
Yes.
Isn't that valuable?
Yes. You can definitely use it for your promotion for next year.
Yeah. And one of the other things we did was, obviously, you can tag businesses or organizations using Facebook. So since we were in Skowhegan, which is not exactly a major media market, we were able to tag a lot of the local media, but also national media. You'll see even the Today Show was tagged in there, ABC News, NPR, a lot of different media that might not have been able to attend, or there's a few people in there that were specifically interested in it or did a story about it. And so we shared it with them. They were then notified, oh yeah, that was the story I did earlier this week. There is now the actual record attempt. So it keeps that story you may have pitched or you might have talked about with somebody from the media top of mind. And I think that was really important. The other thing is, look at that, 9,000 minutes were watched. So this video, I think, was about 2 or 3 minutes long. But when you think about 9,000 minutes, imagine if you had a commercial that people watched for 9,000 minutes. It's just, again, invaluable to be able to promote an event. I think about press conferences. I think about events like this where it's a publicity opportunity. I think about, even like we've said before, promoting that an event is coming up, is such a good idea, like we saw from Kim there before. And events these days, it's not just about sending out an email and calling it good. No. All right, so news or promote new product offerings. And this is obviously a shot from the Trek Across Maine press conference that we talked about a little bit earlier, where we did broadcast Facebook Live from the event. And again, we're dealing with a lot here in Maine is that, there are going to be times when the media are short-staffed or there's a story that trumps your news and you aren't going to be able to get the media there. So you have to make lemonade out of lemons. And that's what we were able to do here in this situation. We did have some media come, but it allows you to get it out to more than just the people that are there. Plus, what we did, what I thought was a really interesting way to engage the target audience was there were a lot of people, Meg, that were going to be working during the day. They weren't going to obviously be able to come to this press conference. But we extended the news by sending out an email 2 or 3 days beforehand and saying, hey, we've got big news coming. And so then people were able to say, oh, okay, there's going to be a press conference at 11 a.m. on this day. I'm going to plan to either be at my desk at work or I'm going to at least know that it's happening and see what happens, versus if we just hosted the press conference, that's like one and done. And you really try to extend the news when you do something like this.
And a lot of the time too, letting everyone know, media and everyone that you want to watch your video, hey, we're going live at this time through email, like you said, is important.
Plus on social, you can do it on social, you can do it on all your communications channels. Really, if you think about it well enough in advance, if you've got a print newsletter, if you've got a newsletter, always have to be thinking about the ways to be promoting the video or the Facebook Live that you're going to be able to do. The other thing, obviously, is you can ask questions right there. People were asking questions. Oh, what is the new route going to be? Does it go through here? What area is it going to go through? So there was a lot of engagement, and you can know right off the gate what are some of the topics that people are going to want to know more about this event, and be prepared to be able to handle some of those. So we want to obviously thank people for tuning in here today, and we are going to be taking questions. So I think that's something that a lot of people may have some questions about related to Facebook Live. And so if you do have any questions, we'll take those. I see that we have one question over here from like Lisa. So we will open that up. Lisa raised her hand at least. Saw that. Let me see here if we can. Larissa, let's see, on to talk. All right, Larissa, what was your question? Technical difficulty here. I think Larissa's mic may be muted there. Larissa, if you want to put the question you might have in the question and answers, that would be great. Oh, Larissa, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Perfect. All right, let's take your question.
Terrific. I was just saying, yes, this is a wonderful way to promote events. I was thinking of a few people that might want to use this, but they should be aware that their page should be public. This is not a great thing for groups that are closed.
Yeah, good point. Absolutely. Good point there. Have you used Facebook Live, Larissa?
No, but you have given me some excellent ideas.
Oh, good. We appreciate that. And you guys do a great business, obviously, with some of the SEO and things I know that Truck does. So
terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right. So we also have another question here. This one comes in from Alf. How long should videos last? For example, before the start of an event, to do a quick promo to generate certainly some interest and get people to head out to the event, how long should the video be? So this is a great question. If you're looking at Facebook Live, I think you got to get enough bump, as I like to call it, bump video, minute, 2 minutes, to get people to allow them to tune in, because not everyone is like literally over the computer waiting to tune into a Facebook Live event. So I think that you've got to figure that out and get at least 2 minutes of kind of bump, as I call it, and be able to then have it so people can start to tune in and then get into your meat. You know, you don't want to come out of the gate and share your meat. Like today, we did an intro. The intro lasted about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That allowed people that might have been like, oh, shoot, that webinar was at 3 o'clock, to kind of come in and then know that now we're starting to get into the meat of our content, versus if you just start right out of the gate, people are going to feel like they're missing out, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think that was a good question there as well. Let's see what else we have. Any other questions? Feel free to fire away.
I was going to say too, on
Yeah.
a question, like a questions live video, if you're asking your followers to ask you questions, you can also, while they're logging on and tuning in, you can ask them to introduce themselves, and then you can like reach out and say, hi, you know, hi Alf, thanks for joining in. And it makes it more personal that way too.
Absolutely, that's a great point. So those were some of the questions that we've had today. I've enjoyed using Facebook Live for a while now. Many of the people know here at our agency that I actually shoot Facebook Live videos every other night with my daughter when I put her to bed. And people really enjoy videos because it's real time, it's in the moment, and so many people get a chance to kind of get that inside perspective. And you, right now as a business, so many businesses have a chance to share their brand. You mentioned it even earlier, your brand story. Share what your brand is about. What are you passionate about? What are the things that you feel as though are valuable to your target audience? And that's exactly what I do with my daughter, is we talk about the things that she's interested in, which if people are interested in her, then they're going to be tuning in. And the same thing happens for your business. If you've got a target audience that is interested in your business and your products, they're going to be interested in what you have to say. So very good questions. Alf, thanks for that question about how long the video should last. So that actually, let's finish the end of that question, which is how long should it go? I would say that a Facebook Live video is good for 5 to 7 minutes. You know, a typical pre-produced video really should only be like 2 to 3 minutes, but where you've got the live element, you got to give the 1 to 2 minutes to get people to tune in. I think that definitely 5 minutes to 7 minutes you can get away with. Obviously, if you're doing a webinar like we're doing today, we've told people this is going to be about a half hour, so people know to plan how long they're going to be on this for, and they know what to expect. We don't appear like we're on here for hours when, we obviously are not doing just a 5-minute video.
And if your event's going all day, you can showcase different things live. So you wouldn't necessarily be on there for 1 to 2 hours. You can come back and show different things that would grab attention.
And that's a good point. As you look at the schedule of events, maybe you come on at 1 o'clock for this type of event, and then maybe you've got some competition at 2:30. You kind of come on at the times that are those peak times. People would, I think, appreciate that as well. Alf then also asked, any tips on how to work around the limited cell service in Maine? Well, that's a fair point, is making sure that you do have good reception, because if you don't, that can certainly be problematic. I would also say that you want to be aware of all the surroundings, and this is some kind of production tips for you. Control the elements as much as you can. So for your example there, Alf, I would go to the location of wherever you're going to be doing Facebook Live from to see what that's like. And I would do that maybe a week in advance, at least 2 or 3 days in advance, to figure out if you're going to be able to get a good signal. The other thing I will say is you can also get a booster. There are ways to boost your, to 4G. There are a lot of video streaming companies that are doing this. They go to a gymnasium, for example, and they can't get any service because they're dealing with cement walls. They'll actually bring a booster and be able to live stream an event or a sporting event from a gymnasium where you can't really get really great service. So a booster would certainly be one way around that. You could contact your cell phone provider for a booster, or you might also want to research, you could look at that geographic area to see and ask the cell phone company, what's your service like there? Is that limited? And that might give you some good insight.
And if you don't have service at all, you can also do like a before video and say that you're going to shoot some video and you'll post later if worse comes to worse.
Yeah, that's what we call look live. It's actually funny, around 80% of TV, as people may not know, is actually pre-produced, and they do what's called look live. So for example, those weather segments you see from the cut-ins from the national news during the morning shows, those are actually pre-recorded. So when it comes to live TV, TV stations don't like to go live. They really would prefer to have pre-produced content. And that leads to Megan's point, which is If you don't have the capability to go live, do a video that kind of looks like, hey, we're here at the event. This is where we're going to be having the competition later. And then you post that, and that would be a good way to promote your event if you can't go live specifically. Heidi asked a question. Do you suggest creating a series based on one topic or different topics each time you go live, or a mix of both? Thanks for the great webinar. We appreciate the comments, Heidi, and I like your question too, because I think it's interesting, and it probably is based on your business. Like, we have the opportunity to be able to do this, and we have a whole webinar series that will feature different marketing and public relations topics, all kind of underneath one umbrella. I can imagine if you're a company that you sell one widget or you sell one product, it's going to be difficult to come up with a wide range of topics to talk about. However, what I might suggest that you want to do is maybe tie it into the news of what's newsworthy, or why your product is relevant in this situation. And I think probably a series, if you do a series, it's a great way to obviously promote that you're going to have another video coming up. You always want to build that audience. What are your thoughts, Meg?
I think definitely if you have a certain topic that you want to discuss each time, or if you just want to go live, it would be relevant. So keep your followers engaged and get them excited. But if you don't, like you said, if you just are promoting one product, just going live during events, or just, I don't know where I'm going with this, but not necessarily doing a series, but just going live to let your followers know that you are going to go live.
And I think sometimes for some people, it's just getting the first one out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, it can be intimidating to go live, but you know what? You're going to make mistakes. The camera's going to jiggle a little bit. You know, something's going to happen. It's live, and it's Facebook Live. We're not producing a Hollywood video here. I mean, you know, that's the other thing is, I know that a lot of people, it's kind of like with images a lot. You know, people take pictures and they put them on Facebook. Are they going to end up in a print magazine? No, not at all. But the idea is that you're being authentic, you're showing your content. And I think that's the most important thing, and that's the element that Facebook Live brings, is you can bring whatever's happening in real time to your audience. So whether it's a series or whether it's just going live periodically, Heidi, I say go for it, and get out there, start experimenting, and I think you'll find success. Like I said earlier, the example we gave, even just with this webinar, I challenge you to shoot one Facebook Live video in the next 2 weeks and get back to us about how it went. Because I guarantee you that you're going to see your engagement on that video go up, and you're going to see some really good results. So use your cell phone, try to use a tripod. If you can, if you have a webcam like we're doing today, webcams are great. They sit on top of the computer. You don't have to worry about it shuffling around, and you control the conditions as much as you can. We actually have a really bright light shining on us here right now that's similar to a television station or what a camera person would have on their camera, because lighting is so important. And we see it with photos, but it can really make you look different on video.
I was also going to say a selfie stick even.
Yes, that's a good point. If there's ever a good use for a selfie stick, it is for a good video, because you have to get far away enough from your body so that you can see the perspective of whatever's happening behind you. So a selfie stick is a great way to do that. The other thing is, when you buy a selfie stick, most oftentimes it will allow you then to get a piece or an adapter that you could put connected to your phone. You put your phone usually in the bracket, and then underneath that there's a screw that you could screw to a tripod, because you can't obviously just screw your cell phone into a tripod. That doesn't work. So you need that kind of adaptive piece, and a selfie stick, actually, when they sell those, has that included. So good production tips there for you. Other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up. We'll give a little bit more time here for another question or two while we remind you about our next webinar. Our next webinar coming up October 10th. How fast is 2018 just flown by?
It is going. It's gone.
It's unbelievable. We're in summer go, you know. But October 10th, we will be hosting our next webinar at 3 p.m. Eastern. We like to call it Webinar Wednesday. It's not every Wednesday, but they are on Wednesdays. speaking of kind of series and things like that, we like to try to keep it somewhat consistent. So every month you can look forward to a webinar on Wednesday. Our next one is October 10th at 3 p.m. It will be about how to write better subject lines. And that's really important, because if you're not writing good subject lines, people might not be opening your emails. And if they're not opening your emails, they're not opening your information, they're not getting access to your information, they're not buying your product, they're not clicking the links. So making sure that you get your email opened, much like all of you did through opening our emails today about this webinar, we appreciate you doing that. So that's going to do it for us. We do have more webinars, so I do encourage you, if you can't make the October 10th or you want to learn about more of our webinars, we have that at marshallpr.com/webinars, and you can see our full list there. And I want to thank you for joining us, Meg. Always great to have you.
Thank you. And I just want to say too, we will be going live promoting our next webinars. So follow us on Facebook and you can see us live.
Yeah, you never know where we might show up. So enjoy the rest of your day. Glad you could tune in. And for my broadcast partner, Meg Crowder, I'm Greg Glynn. We're glad you could tune in. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.